Curb Servers, The Block, Episode 4. Growing up on the block, we also had a paranormal aspect to it. Yeah, we thought there was a certain apartment that had ghosts. Let me break it down. My homeboy Murdoch, he will always tell us, ever since we was like young, hey, I have a couple of ghosts that lives in my house. We'd be like, man, what you talking about, bro? Stop that shit. He'd be like, no, seriously. There's like a man and there's a baby and they live in my house. There's a ghost. I've seen them a couple of times. When you're young in the second grade, third grade, maybe fourth at the most, and you start hearing these type of stories, it's possible you start to believe it. A lot of us, we grew up believing that there was a ghost in Murdoch's house. This was normal conversation amongst a certain group of youngsters. And Murdoch, he would always complain about this ghost. Talking about, yeah, I was asleep last night and the ghost was grabbing my foot, trying to wake me up. When I woke up, he was trying to bite my big toe. We was like, what? What? He was like, yeah, the ghost was grabbing me, shaking me by the foot. I woke up and looked and he tried to bite me on the big toe. See, these are the kind of stories Murdoch would tell us about this baby ghost. Sometimes he would be asleep and he would turn over to wake up and he would see this tall man standing down the hallway staring at him. See, as kids, these stories were striking. Yeah, we would always be like, hey, Murdoch, did you see a ghost last night? And most of the time he would say no. But every blue moon, he would say yeah. On the block, all our parents partied a lot. There was a whole lot of apartments up and down the block. No houses, just apartments. Any given weekend, there was somebody's birthday going on or some type of celebration. And depends on the relationship of, but certain parents got along with different parents for different reasons. We were spending the night over each other's house when there was parties. This one night, my mom was having a party. All the different kids, a couple of kids spending the night over here, a couple of kids spending the night over here, because all the parents in the neighborhood, they want to come to the party. So all the kids got to be, shuffled off to babysitters' houses on the block. And this night, I was shuffled off to Murdoch house. Yeah, I said, hey, Mom, can I spend the night over Murdoch house? She said, yeah, that's not a problem at all. So I went over to Murdoch house to stay. And Murdoch mom went to the party that night, and we all was told to go to bed early. At some point during that night, I don't know if it was on my mind. I don't know if I was thinking about it. But at some point, I woke up and I looked down the hallway. And as my eyes started to gain focus, pay attention, like what is that I'm looking at? I saw a baby boy. He had two long ponytails with two long teeth coming out the front, kind of sharp, two long sharp teeth, long all the way to like his chin, and two long ponytails, braided ponytails coming down the back. And he was wobbling down the hallway like this. I jumped up. I started shaking Murdoch. Murdoch, look. There's a ghost coming down the hallway. The baby ghost is here. Murdoch jumped up. We looked. The baby ghost was gone. At that moment, I didn't know if my mind was playing tricks on me or I got to see the baby ghost. So I said, Murdoch, I'm telling you, there was a baby ghost walking down the hallway. He says, I believe you. I've seen him before. And he turned over to go back to sleep. But at this point, I can't sleep, so I jump out the window. Let me break this down a little bit. Why I was excited to stay over Murdoch's house. It's all about window access on the block at this time in our life for this young group of kids. I lived on the second floor, so it wasn't no jumping out the window to do shit. No, you had to sneak out the front door and get your motherfucking head knocked off. But Murdoch, Skeeter, other people, they lived on the bottom floor. And they was able to sneak out a window, hop a back fence, be on the other side of the block, making a move. Now, when you're young kids, making a move to us is simply, we're trying to go to a young girl's window who we know parents aren't paying attention and we can kind of go knock on their window and get their attention. Or we're trying to go steal some fruit from one of the neighbors' yards, down the alley or somewhere on the block. That was really the only reasons we were sneaking out of windows. See, this is one of the reasons I loved staying the night over Murdoch House. We can always sneak out the window and be into something. See, that's what we called it. We called it being into something. That night, we snuck out the house, snuck out the window, because all the adults was partying. We ran off to hit a couple of windows, went and got some fruit, came on back. Yeah, we had a good night. We went to bed. I wasn't even thinking about the ghost. Although I wasn't thinking about the ghost, the baby ghost must have been on my mind. That night when I woke up, can't nobody tell me nothing. I saw that baby ghost. Matter of fact, I made a decision. Just like we hopped out the window that night, hit some side windows and gathered some fruits to eat. Yeah, I hopped back out the window, ran around to my apartment, ran up the stairs, and there was a party going on. I'm talking about everybody. They was partying, smoking, they was doing the freak. You know that dance. Everybody was popping. I didn't care. I went right through the crowd. Everybody kept saying, "What you doing in here? Your mama gonna kill you. You better get out of here. Excuse me, excuse me." Yeah, I made it all the way to my bedroom. I locked myself in the room. I couldn't sleep there. There was a ghost at Murdoch House. The ghost chased me out the bedroom. I couldn't take it. The next day, we're talking about it. Murdoch's making fun, saying, yeah, the homie fled the spot. He hopped out the window, ran to the house. The baby ghost pushed him out the spot. Most people laughed at me. But there was one person that didn't think it was funny. The homie Ken Dog. See, Ken Dog, he claims he saw a ghost at Murdoch's house before too when he spent the night. There was a big party at Ken Dog's house. And we all spent the night at different houses. And that night, Ken Dog spent the night over Murdoch House. And he told everybody, I saw a ghost at Murdoch House. So when I was telling everybody the story and everybody was laughing at me, there was only one person that believed me, Ken Dog. So later that night, after everybody went in, Ken Dog, usually he got to go in too kind of early, but sometimes he could stay out a little late, past the sunset, maybe about 40 minutes. Then after that, his mama gonna call his ass in the house too. So it was starting to get a little dark. He was out a little later than usual. He said, let's go around to Murdoch room and go fuck with him. So sometimes we would do that. We would go to each other's windows and just, see what each other's doing. Most people just sitting there watching TV in their room, eating dinner or some shit like that. But we went around to Murdoch's window to go fuck with him. He wasn't there. We're looking through the window. At that moment, we noticed a figure kind of glowing with a trench coat. It looked like a man. And as I'm looking at Ken Dog and I'm looking in the window, you know how you put your hand against your eyes and your hand up against the window so you can see real good? We're both pressing our hands hard against the window. We're trying to see. The ghost with the trench coat, he turned around and looked at us. Both, me and Ken Dog, we jumped. Holy shit! And we took off running. Flying from behind the apartments. Flying. We gotta get there. We gotta get there. Oh my God, there was a ghost. There was a ghost. You couldn't tell me anything. You couldn't tell Ken Dog nothing. There was a ghost on the block. Murdoch spot was haunted. Officially, there was a ghost on the block. We got a situation. So as we run to the front, we run into Murdoch. We're telling Murdoch, Murdoch, Murdoch. We went around to the back window to your bedroom looking for you, and we was looking through the window, and we didn't see you, but there was a ghost. It was the man with the trench coat. He was in your closet. Murdoch said, what? I told y'all. There was a baby ghost, and there was a man with a trench coat. I told you. So now, there was 3 little kids running around telling everybody who would listen, there's a ghost at Murdoch spot. Ken Dog was saying, I saw a ghost at Murdoch spot. I was saying, I saw a ghost at Murdoch spot. Murdoch was saying, there's a ghost at my spot. All the parents told us, shut the fuck up. We don't want to hear that dumb shit and stop talking about ghosts. To this day, all 3 of us to a man, we believe there's a ghost in that bedroom where Murdoch used to live. This is the end of Curb Service, The Block, episode 4. Coming back soon.